In tonight's headlines, Defense Counsel wants less than 3 years for Benny Tai as mitigation stage of the city's high-profile subversion case begins. National Security Police charges a 29-year-old man over seditious bus graffiti. And Hong Kong Disneyland reports record-breaking revenue despite losing money for 9 straight years.
Security was beefed up outside the West Kowloon Magistrates Courts this morning. This came as 5 defendants of the city's largest national security trial, Benny Tai, Au Nok Hin, Andrew Chu, Ban Chung, and Gordon Ng, were transported to the court building by prison vans. The court has earlier convicted Ng of conspiring to commit subversion. Under the legislation, offenders are classified based on a 3-tier system. A principal offender or one who commits an offense with grave nature could face life imprisonment or a minimum of 10 years behind bars. Active participant could be sentenced to a jail term between 3 and 10 years, while others face up to 3 years in prison, short-term detention or restriction. Pleading for leniency for Tai, senior counsel Stuart Wong pointed out that the imprisonment starting point for the legal scholar should stand at 3 years. This is because the case involved a conspiracy charge instead of national security offense, Wong explained. He added that as Tai pleaded guilty, his imprisonment should be reduced to 2 years instead. One of the 3 designated judges, Andrew Chan, pressed prosecutor Jonathan Mann to review the classification of offenders based on the sentencing framework, but Mann only pointed out that a leader should be a principal offender. He agreed that Au and Chiu testified as prosecution witnesses, and defendants who reported on the offense committed by other persons could enjoy a lighter punishment. Report is only a general wording, according to Mann. He added that those who have provided information to the police and testified in court are a form of report. The mitigation is expected to take at least 2 more days for the first batch of defendants. Janice Low, Cable News.
A 29-year-old man has been charged with 3 counts of sedition under the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance after writing words with seditious intent on the back of bus seats. The man, surnamed Chung, was arrested in Tseung Kwan O on Sunday after police suspected him of scribbling seditious content on multiple public buses in March and April this year. It was known that the writings showed hatred towards the central and local government. Chung is currently remanded in custody, and the case has been adjourned to 22nd of August. Police are investigating his electronic devices at the moment to check if there are any other malicious content.
For the 5th consecutive year, the annual July 1st demonstration will not be held on the Handover Anniversary next Monday. But the city's leader emphasized that the SAR has a lot of medium for the public to voice their opinion. At the weekly press briefing, John Lee revealed that he hoped the citizens could welcome the 27th anniversary of the establishment day with joy, especially when the society has now turned stable and safe after undergoing the so-called Hong Kong version of a color revolution in 2019.
At the same time, we have to stay vigilant against undesirable activities taking place, say for example, activities that hijack this important date. We now have stability. Our security is safeguarded. I'm sure people will look forward to these celebrations.
The government revealed earlier in the month that citizens can enjoy a number of perks on July 1st to celebrate the occasion, including free tram and light rail rides. The public can also be admitted to swimming pools and leisure facilities operated by the Leisure and Cultural Services Department for free. Meanwhile, having served almost 2 years in position, the chief executive said constitutional reform is not his priority in the remaining 3 years of his term. He pointed out that his cabinet has completed its constitutional responsibility of legislating the domestic national security law. A raft of measures rolled out by the government, including light public housing, as well as the scrap of property cooling measures have helped citizens, according to Lee. He emphasized that the administration will fully focus on developing the economy and improving people's livelihood in his term. Janice Low, Cable News.
Hong Kong Disneyland Resort, of which the SAR government holds a 52% stake in, reported record high local attendance as well as a profit in calendar year 2023. The launch of the world's first World of Frozen in late 2023 not only helped the popular theme park hit a milestone by welcoming its 100 millionth visitor in December, but also achieved record-breaking quarterly results, including revenue, EBITDA and net income in the first quarter in calendar year 2024.
Hong Kong Disneyland turned profitable. Not only have we emerged from COVID triumphant, but we have turned the corner financially. We have entered a new era for Hong Kong Disneyland, and I am extremely proud of all that we have accomplished in the lead up to our 20th anniversary.
In the 2023 fiscal year, which spanned from October 2022 to September 2023, while the theme park had been under the impact of travel restrictions due to the pandemic for nearly half of the year, total attendance still recorded a growth of 87% to 6.4 million. Revenue grew 1.5 times year-on-year to $5.7 billion. Although the theme park was still in the red for 9 years in a row, net losses hugely improved by 83% to $356 million. Moriarty was confident that Hong Kong Disneyland will return to profit in the next fiscal year.
We are not looking back. I think we're very excited about where we are right now. We're on strong financial footing, and we continue, and this is all during a time where Hong Kong has not fully recovered in tourism yet. And so I think we've got a lot of tailwind behind us, and we're very optimistic and confident about the future.
Starting this week, the theme park will open 7 days a week, and the operator will review whether to fully resume daily operation after August. Janice Yu, Cable News.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was released from prison in London and then boarded a private charter flight, which is stopping at Bangkok to refuel before carrying on to Saipan tonight. Since the 52-year-old refused to travel to the mainland US, he is due to be sentenced to 62 months of time already served at a hearing in Saipan, a US Commonwealth in the Western Pacific, on Wednesday. After that, he will return home to Australia, ending a 14-year legal odyssey. Documents from the United States Department of Justice shows Assange has agreed to plead guilty to a single criminal count of conspiring to obtain and disclose classified U.S. national defense documents. He was originally facing 18 charges, which could result in 175 years of imprisonment. As an advocate for Assange's release, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the country is looking forward to welcoming him home.
The case has dragged on for too long. There is nothing to be gained by his continued incarceration, and we want him brought home to Australia. And we have engaged and advocated Australia's interests using all appropriate channels to support a positive outcome, and I've done that since very early on in my Prime Ministership.
WikiLeaks in 2010 released hundreds of thousands of classified U.S. military documents on Washington's wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, along with swaths of diplomatic cables. Assange was indicted during former President Donald Trump's administration and was wanted by Swedish authority over sex crime allegations. In 2012, he fled to the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he remained for 7 years under political asylum. He was dragged out of the embassy in 2019 and jailed for skipping bail. For almost 5 years, he has been fighting extradition to the U.S. The guilty plea brings an abrupt conclusion to a criminal case of international intrigue. However, it may not be seen as a clear win for the principle underlying Assange's defense, freedom of the press, while the U.S. Espionage Act will still hang over the heads of journalists reporting on national security issues. Anna Chan, Cable News. After a nearly 2-month-long mission, China's lunar probe Chang'e 6 descended through Earth's atmosphere under a parachute and touched down in the Inner Mongolia Desert around 2 p.m. today. It is the first spacecraft to successfully return from the far side of the Moon with the first-ever samples, which could answer key questions about how planets are formed. China's President Xi Jinping has called to congratulate those at the command center of the Chang'e 6 mission. The probe will be sent to Beijing and samples, including 2.5 million-year-old volcanic rock, will be retrieved there. China aims to send a crewed mission to the Moon by 2030 and plans to eventually build a base on the lunar South Pole.
The city's external merchandise trade continued to improve in May. According to the Census and Statistics Department, the values of Hong Kong's total exports rose 14.8% from May a year ago, in line with market expectations, while imports of goods recorded a year-on-year increase at 9.6%, beating estimates. Both figures recorded their third consecutive monthly rise. A visible trade deficit of $12.1 billion was recorded in May. A government spokesman said the value of merchandise exports posted further double-digit growth in May over a year earlier. Exports to the mainland and the United States continued to rise notably, while those to the European Union turned to an increase. Those to many other major Asian markets also saw growth. Looking ahead, Hong Kong's export performance should stay positive if external demand holds up well, though geopolitical tensions will continue to bring uncertainties. The government will monitor the situation closely.
The World Economic Forum's 50th annual meeting of the New Champions, also known as the Summer Davos, opened in northeast China's coastal city of Dalian. The 3-day event is gathering 1,600 leading figures from the public and private sectors across nearly 80 countries and regions to jointly explore new drivers and pathways for global economic growth. Chinese Premier Li Qiang addressed the opening of the forum, urging efforts to deepen scientific and technological exchanges and calling for the safeguarding of an open market environment and inclusive development. He emphasized that the exploration of next frontiers for growth should not be a zero-sum game, but a common growth for all, opposing decoupling and protectionism.
各国如果只考虑我们自身利益最大化，我们如果不顾及他人利益，甚至不惜开历史倒车，搞脱钩断链、小院高墙，那只会抬高全社会的、全球的经济运行成本，割裂地区之间的经济联系，激化矛盾和纷争，把世界各国拖落到争强蛋糕，而且这个蛋糕越争越小的一个恶性循环之中，这是我们不愿意看到的。